I really do feed into
Yes.
the homeless type.
Correct. Tell it. You can share. Let me show that. You can share this. Let me say real quick, and then we'll talk. I've just got into New York City on the first New York City visit since I've been back, and I wanted to just see maybe somebody that was on the street every now and then. So I just met him. What is your name, brother?
My name is Jerome.
Jerome. He was reading the gospel. He showed me the Gospel of John. Jerome, you could tell a little bit of your situation. This is video that you're on. What is it, Jerome? Are you on the street, basically, or do you have a place?
Basically,
Yeah.
I'm in the church right now.
Okay.
Previous to that rather, I was dead on the street.
Okay.
All right? I mean, I don't use that term dead, but more or less surviving on the street.
Yeah.
And I started meeting people here. Well, that's like getting in the middle. That's like being in the middle of the situation, in a sense. Because, like, I was not, I wasn't on the streets in regards to something that I didn't do. But more or less it's something that occurred.
Okay.
And, during my many travails.
Yes.
And I want to point out that I was like institutionalized into this.
Yes.
I had some what you might call, I'm looking for the proper terms here to use.
Many of my friends, Jerome, in Texas, a lot of the friends that I have that are on the street or homeless, a lot of them had regular lives. They worked, they got divorced for reasons that were out of their control.
Yeah.
They wound up as a little. And so sometimes it's not always what the stereotype is.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just, and so I just met you, but tell more if you want. That's up to you.
Okay, I just wanted to get the proper format.
Yes.
Because, like, I mean, I don't like feeding into this propaganda type thing about homeless.
Yes. Because
they attach so many, negative things to being homeless.
Yes.
So, that has been one of the, because I've been asked many a time about what you're saying right now.
Yes. Yes.
To some various people.
Yeah.
And
it has a negative connotation to it.
That's what I'm saying.
My friends in Texas, Jerome, some of them are vets, and they're actually homeless.
Yeah.
And one of my friends, his name is Austin. You guys, it's different Austin, not the one you see me with. But what he told me, and he carries, he has like a cart he carries. He's got the gospel all over, scripture. But you know what he told me on the video? This last year in Texas. He said, John, the only crime, he says, just being homeless, he says, is considered a crime. And he said it should not be, because he's a Christian. And he quoted from 1 John, he said, "Beloved, let us love one another." And it said, if you see your brother on the street, or you see your brother in need and you don't help him, how does the love of God? And what he was, his name's Austin. And what he told me was, he felt like just being homeless, regardless of whether he's committing crimes or doing drugs or anything else, it's still looked at as a crime.
Yeah.
And he didn't like that because he's on the street. He's a veteran. He used to, I'm not sure if he was in the Navy or the Army. So what you're saying, Jerome, is interesting because there's a negative connotation immediately. And
I'm like looking at things like in an extreme.
Yeah.
The one extreme being extremely rich, to one extreme will be extremely without.
Yeah.
And that's how that's how I'm putting it into my context. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And knowing this country for the decades that I do know, it's always been like this.
Extremes.
Yeah, one extreme to another. Capitalism to poverty.
Yes.
There's extreme capitalism out there, and just like there's extreme poverty.
Yeah.
So like when you're not at a good balance, then either you're extremely rich or you're
Listen to this, Jerome. I read a verse in Proverbs the other day, and this is in the book of Proverbs. It said, "Two things I ask of you," the writer is saying. He said, "Give me neither poverty nor riches." This is in the Bible.
Okay.
Because if I have riches or capitalism to an extreme, he says, I might forget God and curse him. But if I have too much poverty, I also might. And what that verse is saying is, we don't have balance.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
If you don't have the proper balance, then no matter who you are, and I just like you saying, like they want to demonize, certain points, and certain issues and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so as a consequence, it's how you know what I'm saying. If you don't try to get on that level.
And why is this good? Why is this video good? Jerome's the first brother I met since I've been in the city. And most of you see my friends from North Bergen, which is right over the Hudson River. And you've seen them already. But now listen how intelligent Jerome is. And there's a stereotype where people say, like Bill O'Reilly said once,
O'Reilly.
he went into Harlem. I walked through Harlem, not this time. He said, and I went into a black restaurant, and O'Reilly didn't realize what he said was racist. He said, and I realized they were just like any other people, which is a racist comment, and O'Reilly got a lot of flack. The stereotype, I never met Jerome. I was walking to St. Patrick's Cathedral. I said, I need to interview to meet somebody on the street.
Okay.
But Jerome's intelligent, he's articulate, and it shouldn't be a surprise. You understand? Some of my Texas friends, it's a surprise when you see them on my videos.
Look, I'm a cosmetologist by profession.
Okay.
I went to school and everything like that.
I smoke. I'm going to smoke a cigarette. Go ahead and talk, Jerome.
I don't smoke.
Okay.
And
see, Jerome don't smoke, I smoke.
And so, like I say, I went to certain levels, you understand me, with my cosmetology. I started freelancing here in the city here in New York, right? And I mean, it was like I went to like extremely wealthy and like for instance,
yes,
Huntington Hartford. Do you know who Huntington Hartford was?
No.
A&P.
Okay.
Understand me? That was his name. I went from with my travails with cosmetology up to his place on Sutton Place, and I mean it was like it was like an experience, man. I mean, it was like, the winding staircase to go up, you understand me, to the top and everything.
And then you took the other stairway down. How are you from? Are you originally from New York City, Jerome?
I'm originally from this area.
Okay, like me, but I'm not from the city.
Yeah, from area. because this area has been so influential in all the states that it is covered from.
Yes.
Yeah, Philadelphia, especially Philadelphia and
my friend Rick,
Pennsylvania.
one of my friends, Rick's not homeless, but I see him every year. I just seen him yesterday when I go back to North Bergen, right on the other side. But what Rick told me yesterday when I was together with him, I met all the guys yesterday. He said, you know, John, we are from New York City, even though we're on that side of the Hudson. He said, because this is a big...
influential. It influences all the states around, you know.
Yeah.
And I go back with my memories of childhood and everything like that. And what city I Gotham. That's you know what I'm saying? It's Gotham City, and everything else that went with it, man. You know what I mean? So, I see so much of the influence. I see so much of the influence when I was a kid. I find myself just going back, saying to myself, how did I get this interpretation and everything? You know, where did it come from?
Yeah.
And I started for a little while, but
how old are you, Jerome? If you don't mind, I'm 53.
Well, I'm a couple decades older than you.
Okay.
A couple decades.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And
what I noticed you had the Gospel of John. I usually recommend. When I do ministry many years, Jerome, but I usually tell people read John.
Yo, you usually tell?
Yes,
okay.
I usually say I usually recommend if people have not read the Bible yet. I usually tell them start with John, and I quote a lot from John because in John's Gospel, a lot of the verses, the famous ones we know of, for God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believes
just
in
that. Listen, this is
that's John chapter 3.
Yeah, see, I'm reading just that when you came up.
Oh,
this is what I was reading.
See what I tell you about how God works? He was reading that.
I'm reading it, and it's like, I mainly was reading right here for comfort.
Yes.
Because if I can be comfort with myself, I mean, I just don't know what could have happened.
Yes.
And I was just on that.
There's a verse. Let me quote this one for you, Jerome. There's a verse that says, it's in the Old Testament. In the multitude of my thoughts within me, thy comforts delight my soul. It's almost like God was saying in that verse to me that if we find peace with God, then all of the distractions that are going on around us, we have to, and I have difficulty with that because I get very distracted.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of interesting. It's starting to rain, so if I shut the phone off, it's because it's going to start raining. We went 13 minutes. I'll try to see Jerome more often. Now, I don't know if he's always going to be on this street, because I have friends, Jerome, in New Jersey side. I see them every year. Sometimes we go out and eat, drink coffee. These are just friends I made, Jerome. And some of them are Christians, some of them are some of the guys are using heroin and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think that the gospel, actually, the way we do ministry, I tell people, I gave Jerome my little card, but everybody watches the videos knows. But I'm telling Jerome that I think being on the street, I read the other day in the gospel where they said to Jesus, He's eating with publicans and sinners. Jesus is eating with people that we deem unworthy to be with. And really, I think people on the street or people in difficult situations, God intends us to be with them.
Well, the two people that were crucified with Jesus, they were what? What were they classified as?
Yes, a murderer and a thief. Mm-hmm. And yes, they were bad. That's right. This day God will be, Jesus said to the one that repented, this day you will be with me in paradise. Do you want to go eat something, Jerome, in a restaurant? Like not an expensive one, it's got to be McDonald's or something. We'll go eat if you want. I'm okay with that, because I do stuff like that.
Well,